How's it going, guys? Glub here, and I have a few engagement shoots coming up in the next couple of weeks, and I'm out here on the beautiful Antelope Island in the middle of the Great Salt Lake and just doing some location scouting. So while I'm out here, I figured, why not bring you guys along and share some tips. So the first tip is actually about finding the location. One of the best tools I found to find the location is to just use Instagram. Search some local hashtags. For example, one big one around here in Utah is Utah engagement photographers. So, I just search that up on Instagram and see where other fellow local photographers are shooting and see if they tag the location in their picture. So then I can kind of gauge where that location might be. I can go back to Google Maps and kind of look at that up, see how far of a drive it is, see if it's convenient to get to for my clients and everything like that. Another way you can find the location is, once again, use social media. If you have friends that are photographers, or if you follow people on Instagram that are photographers, you can simply just shoot them a message and ask, like, hey, I saw your post and that was a pretty cool spot. I'm shooting some engagements myself. I was wondering if you mind sharing that, or if you mind sharing where you took that picture. And then the last thing you can use is Google Maps. I like using Google Maps to search kind of green spaces around the area if I'm looking for something outdoors. But even if you're doing like something on the street or in the city, you can kind of use Google Maps to kind of give you a really good idea of what that area might look like, so you don't end up driving over there just to find out that, this isn't really what you're looking for. So, let's sum it up real quick. Yeah, Instagram is a really great resource. Got fellow photographers, ask for help, nothing wrong with that. And then third, use Google Maps. Google Maps, really great tool. All right. Tip number 2, take really good notes. When you finally get to a location or you're scouting a location that you want to be at, bring a notebook or just use your phone, a tablet, whichever way. But, take good notes on the location. I like to note things that, maybe it could be potential hazards. Like if you're shooting portraits outside, for example, I'm going to look like for any muddy or slippery surfaces where my clients could get hurt or injured. Take note of those. Avoid those areas when you actually go shoot. Also take note of the lighting, just the location, the background. Take notes of good spots that you might see, so then when you're ready, you know where you want to be and where you want to shoot. Taking the notes is just a really good way of remembering and keeping track of your ideas and thoughts while you're on the location. And as much as you might tell yourself that, oh, I don't need to take notes, I'll just remember everything. Well, if you just remember your days in high school or college, and just remember when you didn't write something down and then you forgot that important answer for the test. Exactly, write it down because you will forget. You probably will, because there's so much information coming in that one of those bits and pieces will get lost in it. So take notes. Okay, I'm inside some old school ranch house, and it's a good time to share tip number 3. So for tip number 3, it has to do with an app that I use on my phone all the time. The app is called PhotoPills, and basically what it does is it allows you to figure out what the light's gonna look like at the location that you're planning on shooting, whether you're at the location or whether you're just sitting at home figuring out where to go. It's a great way to kind of skip ahead to a certain date and see when the sun's gonna rise, when the golden hour starts, when blue hour starts, when sunset is. Basically it gives you all this useful information about just the day in general. So you can go to your location and be prepared as to what the light's gonna look like. It has this really cool mode where you can do augmented reality, and it can actually you know, it kind of just uses your phone's camera and paints a little path of the sun right in the frame. So you can scroll through it and you can see, for example, like, oh, you know, at 4 p.m. the sun's gonna be over in this spot right above the horizon. That'd be a really good spot. And that might be a really good time to take a picture. You can also use the app to take notes right within the app, and you can add your own locations into points of interest and just jot down some notes, take pictures for the gallery. So you can use it as part of your note-taking process, like I mentioned, tip number 2. So tip number 3, PhotoPills is a super great app to kind of help you figure out what the light's gonna be like at a location. And just real quick, I'm not sponsored by them, not endorsed by them or anything like that. It's just something I personally use and found it super helpful. Okay, I think I've done all the scouting I could do at the ranch on Antelope Island. Now I'm gonna head over to the other side of the island to see how that looks. And, you know, basically do the same thing, take some notes there, and give you the rest of the tips. It may not be an Iron Throne, but it still works. All right, and to the other side of the island. This is a little spot called Buffalo Point, just up a hill. I'm gonna go check it out. And it's time for tip number 4. This is kind of part of the note-taking process. You know, use your phone's camera to take pictures of the locations while you're spotting them. Potential like spots with good backgrounds or just things you like. Better yet, you can even shoot a little video, a small little video, and talk over it to kind of, you know, use that as a note. Instead of writing it down, you can also talk about it, film it on your phone. That way you can go back, look at it and remember. You can also listen to it when you're actually there on location. So, you know, if you happen to forget which spot might have been a good one, or spot might have worked, you can go back, reference the video, and then bam, you have it right there. Number 5. It's getting kind of windy. Whew. Okay, so tip number 5, consider your client. Right now I'm kind of hiking up to this sort of a small little peak that overlooks the entire island. It's kind of a rocky little trail, and you know, it's a beautiful location. You can see the entire island. It makes for a great backdrop for portraits. If you're an avid like hiker and outdoorsy person, then you may have no problem walking up a mountain, walking up a hill, over some rocky terrain in order to get to a location and get the shot. However, if you're shooting for a client specifically, you know, they may not be willing to do that. So take that into consideration. Not all clients are going to be willing to walk up a mountain, walk over a rocky trail just to get to a location of the shot. You know, to keep things nice and simple, try to find a location that's pretty easily accessible for most groups of people. Now, unless your client asks specifically about that location, then, you know, by all means, go ahead, hike up there, check it out, because you just know that, you know, your client's gonna be okay with it. So tip number 5, consider your client. Don't go off into some location they might not be able to get to. Okay, that's exactly what I was talking about when I said, you know, take note of the conditions when you're scouting locations, because right now this trail, that's pretty much slick snow. And normally in the summer, up at the Buffalo Point here, you can get fantastic views of the entire island. And like I said, makes a great backdrop for portraits. However, there's no way I would have a client walk up a hill on this. Just look at that beautiful view. This is why I love this spot. It's gorgeous. Anyways, tip number 6. What was tip number 6? I don't remember. Good thing I got my notebook. My ideas notebook. Tip number 6, give yourself plenty of time. So when you're scouting locations, plan a whole day, because one, you may hit multiple locations in just that one day, especially if they're close to one another. But you want to have enough time to really soak in the location, to take detailed notes, and really check the area out. It's especially nice if you're at the location around the time you're planning to shoot the actual shoot. So usually, I wait for the golden hour kind of later in the day so the sun's not directly above me. So I will try and go scout out, around evening time, sometime afternoon. However, I didn't do that today. Actually, I did go a bit earlier in the morning because this island is massive and there's a lot of ground to cover and there's a lot of driving to do. So I wanted to give myself plenty of time to check out different spots on the island, and without having to be in the rush and running out of daylight and all that, because I don't want to be hiking when it's dark because I didn't bring a flashlight. But yeah, like I said, tip number 6. Tip number 6, give yourself plenty of time to explore the locations. And if you can, try to hit multiple locations in one day, but basically just try to plan out an entire day solely for location scouting. It helps you out immensely when it's actually time to shoot. This area just keeps getting more and more beautiful. It's got some nice rock formations here. Yeah. Anyways, share with you tip number 7. So tip number 7 is make sure you have permission to shoot at the location you're scouting. Now, a lot of public lands or public places, you may be totally fine if you're just taking like a few wedding pictures here and there, don't really have any big light setups or anything like that. However, if you have like a giant production crew, if you're setting up backdrops, lights, you get full system going basically. A lot of places will consider that like a huge commercial shoot and may require a permit, a license. If you're planning on shooting a lot of like state parks or national parks or any really like public owned property, just make sure you still double check to see whether you need a permit or not, especially if you're a large production. Also, private land. Definitely make sure you ask the owner whether you can actually use their property for whatever you're planning on shooting, because you don't want to be trespassing. You don't want to get yourself or your clients in trouble by going on somebody's property that you might have, even if you didn't know it was private property, that's still no excuse. You should double check to make sure that the property you're on is actually allowing you to shoot there. Okay, final tip. You ready? All right, and this one can help you out a whole lot, especially if you are not quite sure where you wanna be shooting at. That is, ask the client for suggestions. The first thing I do whenever a client asks me to do a shoot is ask them about the location if they had something in mind. Maybe they have some cool private property that they want to shoot at. Maybe they have a relative or a friend that owns like a beautiful piece of property that you could get permission to shoot at because they know them. See? So just ask them. That should be the very first question that you ask whenever you get a client. And another real quick bonus tip, if it is a location that such like a wedding venue, somewhere you've never been before, show up like an hour, maybe 30 minutes early and just kind of do a quick walk around so you know what to expect. You see how the lighting is, you see where the best light is coming through. There's tip number 8. Remember to always ask your client to see if they have any place in mind before you go out scouting. And the little bonus tip, if they do have a location set or if it's some kind of event venue, go out there 30 minutes before you're scheduled to shoot and just do a quick walkthrough and glance around to see potential good spots, bad spots, and what you may need to do. All right, and that's it. That's it for this little video. Those are my 8 tips plus a little bonus for location scouting. So hopefully you guys found it helpful and hopefully you end up using them. Next time you're asked to go take some pictures or shoot a video, just remember these tips. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. hit the like button if you did, subscribe if you're not already, and share it with your friends, share it with your fellow photographers or videographers, filmmakers, whoever you think might be interested, and just keep them in mind. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.